Her phone beeps, and I reach in to take her phone to see.
That's where we're going to stop.
Yeah.
Her phone beeped. Where was her phone?
Her phone was in her lap.
So she had a phone in her lap. So
Yeah.
you reached your hand into her car
Right.
to get her phone.
Right. Yes.
And
I wanted to see if there was some. And then she grabbed my wrists. I immediately let go of the phone. I put my hands up in the universal gesture of, I don't want to get in a fight. And I want to be clear, I didn't open the door. I didn't try to commandeer the steering wheel. And I watched as her car started to roll. This was the car had been stopped. Now the car's starting to roll. And I'm looking at her like, put your foot back on the brake. That's what I'm thinking. Then our car starts to drift towards the center of the street. And I'm kind of doing the gesture of like, she has plenty of time, just move the car back. Then she accelerates the car and plows through the yard of her neighbor across the street. I was not near the car.
Mr. Davis, the question that I'm going to listen to what the plaintiff tells me. In negligence, one of the questions that courts ask themselves is, but for the actions of Mr. Davis, would Miss Hamblin have had an accident that night with her car?
Right.
And so far, even based on the rather benign story that you tell me, I'm what we all do.
Right.
Fact finders, whether it's a jury or a judge, fact finders put themselves in a situation of the other person.
Right.
Now, I'm in my car. I started my car.
Right.
And the car was started because otherwise the window wouldn't be down.
Right.
So the car was started and her foot is on the brake. As you said, later, her foot was on the brake. Then you reach into the car. Mm-hmm. So that you're really trespassing on her property by putting your hand into her car to lift out her phone. That causes, and it's already been an emotional evening, probably for both of you. Okay, Miss Hamlin, you tell me your version of the events.
He did come to my house. We had a disagreement.
About what?
About he was pressuring me into getting a certain medical procedure that he referenced earlier. I wasn't quite sure to make a definitive decision on that matter. He left. About 15 minutes transpired. I left my home, went into my car. My car is parked on the side street.
Where are you going?
Where was I going? To the store. I have a cat. I have cats. Get cat
She told me
food.
she was going to see a friend.
Anyways, get into my car. I roll down my window halfway to let the hot air out. I do have my phone in my lap. I am text messaging. I never called him, by the way. I did not know he was still in my neighborhood.
Of course not.
Yeah, 15 minutes had transpired. I didn't even know he was still there. So I'm firing off some text messages, just fiddling with my phone because you can't do that while you're driving in California. Next thing you know, I look up and I see him bum rushing my car. My car is now in drive. It is in gear, and I'm starting to veer out of my parking spot. And he's reaching into my car, trying to commandeer my phone violently, trying to pull it out of my hands.
Just a minute, was it in your hand or your lap?
It was in my lap first, and then he reached into my lap, and then we were struggling over it.
Okay, so the phone was in your lap when he walked over?
Yes.
Okay.
And then we were struggling over it. And meanwhile, my car I'm trying to ascend forward, get out of the situation, try to circumvent, try not to actually run him over, and try to get away from the situation. And everything really happened so fast. My foot is on the gas pedal. I am in gear. I am trying to get away. And, grabs my wrist, phone, I veer away, and I hit the wrought iron fence of my neighbor.